Hi everyone, this is Rocky here from Clarity Coach. Well, I'm shooting a little book review for you guys today, and let me share the book first. Here it is, the Grief Recovery Handbook, and it's written by two awesome authors, John W. James and Russell Friedman. Again, that's John W. James and Russell Friedman. And here's the title of the book again, the Grief Recovery Handbook. Well, I don't know about you guys, but life has been quite hard since January, and it feels like it's not even going to let up. I don't know where you guys are at, but I myself have suffered a loss recently of a loved one, and it's been hard going through the grieving process. And on top of all of that, my wife and I are preparing for another imminent loss in our family. And so it's hard, right? Preparing for this. And then to top that off, I got news this past weekend that a dear friend of mine had lost their daughter in a tragic car accident. So I guess it begs the question, what do we do when we go through loss? Whether that would be the loss of a loved one, the loss of our marriage, loss of our business that we have put blood, sweat, and tears and hope and energy into, and suddenly it's gone now. What do we do when we suffer loss? And more importantly, how do we grieve through that process? And I don't know if there's any easy way, but what I can share with you is that this book has brought a lot of clarity, a lot of understanding, and a lot of helpful insights on how to walk out my grieving, and in particular, how to walk out my grieving so that I'm actually recovering, so that I'm not just staying in grief. Does that make sense? So anyways, that's the reason why I wanted to share this book with you. Now, you can get this book in two different formats. You can get it in an electric format, as well as you can get it, obviously, in the paperback format. So you can find it on Kobo and Kindle. I do have an e-version as well for myself, and I am certain that you can find it on Audible. Yeah, I'm certain that you can find it on Audible as well. Now, for me, I do recommend that you guys pick this book up in paperback format. Now, here's my reason, all right? Unlike other books, this is not the kind of book that you want to read and then just store away on your shelf. I believe that this is a book that will serve you over a long period of your lifetime. And it doesn't mean that we'll always be going through loss, but what it does mean is that if we're not going through loss, we will know somebody who's going through loss, and this book will help us help them just as much as it will help us personally. So, get this book on paperback, read it, write notes, journal in it, leave it around in a place that you can reference it quickly. And if you do know somebody that's going through a grieving process because they've gone through a loss, I would recommend that you get this for them. It is super, super helpful. Now, let me share with you what I felt was helpful in this book, and I hope it resonates with you and inspires you to get it. For me, the first 5 chapters of this book is worth the money alone, all right? And let me explain why. So in chapter 1, it's entitled Grief, a Neglected and Misunderstood Process. And essentially in this chapter, the authors are trying to help us articulate what grief really means and what recovery really means. And it's really trying to help us come to an understanding as well on what recovery truly looks like, all right? And actually how to stay open to the process of grieving. So that's chapter 1. Chapter 2 is called Compounding the Problem. Now, this is really all about the idea of when we go through grieving, we're actually going through various stages of grieving. I'm not going to explain it. You can read it so that it's clear for you. But the idea is that we do go through various different stages of grieving. And in those stages, one of them is going to be anger. And so in this particular chapter, what I found helpful was how they were able to describe and articulate what anger is and why it's there while we're going through the grieving process. So I hope that that's helpful for you guys. Chapter 3, it gets even better now. In chapter 3, it's entitled, "We Are Ill Prepared to Deal with Loss." Now, one of the things that they're trying to draw out here is that as a culture, we are so used to and so programmed to amass a lot of things. In other words, we've been taught to collect a lot of things, right? To acquire a lot of things. But we've never been taught what to do when we actually lose something. So that's what I think this chapter is so powerful, or what makes this chapter so powerful. And I hope that it will serve you, is that it really helps us understand how to begin to prepare for this loss. All right. Now it leads into chapter 4, which is even more powerful. And chapter 4 is entitled, "Others Are Ill Prepared to Help Us Deal with Loss." How true is that? I have gone through numerous times where friends of mine and family members have gone through their loss. And I have to say, many times I don't even know how to show up. So this chapter alone has been really great in helping me understand some simple ways that I could support my friends and my family members that are suffering loss or going through grieving process, how I can actually care for them and comfort them during this time. So chapter 4, an amazing chapter to read, which leads us into chapter 5. And chapter 5 is about recovery. In fact, they call it the Academy Award Recovery. So really, it's just about understanding how to start the process of recovery. I say all that to say, if you are truly going through that grieving process, I really pray that this book will help you and serve you. If you know of somebody that's going through this grieving process, I highly recommend you giving it to them. And if you yourself have already read this book and it has made an impact in your life, leave a comment down below. Share with us what in this book particularly impacted you, how it impacted you, how it changed the way that you walk through grieving or helped someone else walk through their grieving. I'm sure that it will mean a lot to us as well for us to read those comments. So there you have it, guys. My first book review. Again, the Grief Recovery Handbook, written by John W. James and Russell Friedman. Well, that's it, guys. Loving you guys. Be well. Be safe. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.